Hey, you cool cats and hey, you cool cats and I can't even take myself seriously. Hey, you cool cats and kittens. Today Hey, you cool cats and kittens. Today I'm going to be breaking down the brand new Springvale heroes, as well as discussing my good friend Malosi over here, and talking about the old Springvale heroes and how they've impacted and shifted the meta today. So make sure you check out my grades at anchorgame.com/grades if you're curious about these heroes or any of the heroes that are released that are 5 stars, 4 stars. Those have all been graded at anchorgame.com. So let me dive right in and discuss this with you. This is the old hero Squire Wabbit from last year. I really love and appreciate this hero. I personally have 2 of them leveled up myself. And before you start bashing, hey Anchor, where are the 3-star grades? Like, patience is a virtue. I'm lazy. I don't know, whatever I need to tell you. Just understand they're not out yet. Sometime in the eventual future, you'll get some 3-star grades. But let me discuss the event stuff, all that kind of stuff. So it deals 355 damage to the target, gets minus 20% defense for 3 turns. The effect cannot be dispelled. Like I said, this hero is awesome. It is really great to use. It's really good in the events if you're trying to do well in the 3-star events, and also running for the raid tournaments. Really good in Bloody Battle as well as actually in all of them. Bloody Battle buff, the fast one too. A little bit less on the fast, but still hits very hard. I really like this hero. Like what they did with it. The negative effect only impacts Squire Wabbit itself, and I found that I've gotten a lot of use just using him. I may get back into the video, but first I have to do a shout out to the sponsor of this video, Game Oils.
Essential oils, aromas for natural wellness and healing. But current products aren't made for gamers. Now there's a better way to holistically improve your game with scents like strategy, kill-death ratio, and dominance. All of them mostly safe and distilled using nature science. This is what victory smells like.
Just kidding! This video is sponsored by my good friends at Raid Shadow Legends. Game Oils is not a real product, but Raid is. Step in and clown on noobs as you battle your way to victory. Raid has awesome features for you to claw your way through. I personally love the clan boss mode. We're working with my friends, taking down mammoth-sized monsters every single day. You can play Raid on both your mobile as well as a freshly launched PC version. And now, daily login bonus features for new players have changed from 90 days to 180 days, which means you get awesome loot every single day and finish it off with the sweet legendary barbarian champion Saya the Drake. Make sure you check me out in the game as Anchor Gamed. What are you waiting for? Download Raid Shadow Legends now. If you're a free player, you get 100,000 silver, as well as a free epic champion, Joan Toon. All you gotta do is go to the special links below, download it. After you download it, you can find all your loot up here in that little chest. Thanks again, Raid Shadow Legends. I'll see you guys on the battlefield. Next up, we got this cute little pie chick junior. It deals 180% damage to all enemies. By the way, if you are not subscribed to the channel, I think it's about that time that you go ahead and commit to this relationship. Because when I look at 65% of the people that have viewed this content are not subscribed to the channel, and that's consistently on my videos, I think it's about time that you were like, yeah, I will click subscribe. Because by the 3rd, 4th video date, you know what I mean? I feel like an imbalance here of non-commitment. I think you should go ahead and just click subscribe. Just throwing that out there. Caster gets 20% attack for 3 turns, cannot be dispelled. I really love this little guy because he really pairs well with the brand new hero that just came out last month, Nordries, which gives an elemental defensive buff down to blue. So pairing that with a hero that deals damage to all enemies, I will see that this guy will run rampant on the events as well as the raid tournaments too. So with the raid tournaments running at fast speed, dealing damage to everybody is definitely going to be relevant. Also, the buff at average speed, it deals damage to where it's not really too much of a factor with the buff part to it. And definitely going to be awesome in the healing. So I really love this little guy here. O Hare deals 180% damage to all enemies, but this is actually at fast speed. And the caster gets minus 20% defense for 3 turns. So I do like O Hare. I leveled mine up immediately last year, and I've consistently been using O Hare, especially in the events. Especially in the raid tournaments when you've got that Pairs really well with like Buddy and dealing damage to everybody. I know a lot of times I'll go ahead and I'm actually running O Hare at average speed pretty much because a lot of times I'm waiting for my buddy to fire first and then I'm running O Hare to pretty much obliterate the whole team. So I do like this hero. The defense down for 3 turns isn't too much of a factor, but he does have really high attack damage for a 4-star hero. His defensive stats are not that great. They could obviously be better, but I do love that he's running at fast speed, dealing the damage too. So I really like this hero, and it is definitely relevant. So when we look at O Hare up here at the very top row, on the Titans here, he's got a D stamina. His defensive stats already says not that great. Obviously, the passive part is giving the defensive down, but his direct damage is pretty high for what he does, and his tiles are pretty high at B. So does have a B grade here on Titans, Fringe C B. Speed an A. Obviously, he runs at fast speed. Stamina there is D. Passive is D. Direct damage is pretty high. War B. So a B grade here offensively. And then on defensive, has an A grade for speed. Stamina D. Passive is definitely relevant. Direct damage is relevant. But as a tank, I'm not really running him as a tank. But he could get some usage on a flank and the wing. Has an overall grade here as a B. And on the Rush tournament, he has a C grade. He's already running at fast speed. I'm not really using him. Buff is CB grade, and then at Bloody, he's definitely going to be used in the Bloody battle to deal damage too. So I do like him there. Overall grade for O Hare is a B. Alright, let's go ahead and talk about this absolutely amazing hero, Lady Woolerton. Recovers 40% health to all allies at fast speed, and the negative draw side to this is caster can't gain mana for 2 turns. So I really love the pairing of what they did with this. First of all, it's fast speed, which is really relevant, and it impacts all your heroes, and it's a great duration of 40%. And then it is a small amount of negative effect at not being able to gain mana for 2 turns. So Lady Woolerton really works really well in the meta as far as pairing with Malosi, being at fast speed to take on Teleria tanks. So if you don't have Lady Woolerton, you're really going to want to level her up. You're really going to want to get her. She's an awesome hero. Stats wise, 626, pretty good. Defense is decent. Let's go ahead and take a look at the actual hero breakdown grade of it. Cleric, we're all the way here at the very bottom. Stamina is at C. This is against Titan. The passive is at a B, which I would say that this might be better for people with lower end Titans, but unfortunately Lady Woolerton is not going to make it into the 14 and 14-star Titans. So for people that are on the lower end, it might be a really good hero for you being at fast speed. Obviously no direct damage. The tiles are pretty decent. The versatility is at a C, but this grade might go up depending on what other heroes you have if you're at a lower level. Now on offense, she's an absolute all-star being at fast speed and an A. The stamina is at C. She's got pretty low defensive stats, but her passive grade in terms of where she's at is pretty amazing. This is Fringe A+, but it is A range. Obviously no direct damage, and then War, in my opinion, could go up to an A+, just because of her and Malosi pairing up to battle Teleria tanks, which is definitely relevant. Overall, again, Fringe A+. I really love this hero on offense. Speed A, Stamina C, passive is at a B because it's not really that much relevant on defense, but could help out. Obviously no damage. Tank, you're definitely not going to want to put her in a tank. She could be viable in the wing grade. This is when you're looking at the lower mid-tier player calibers, you could be running her in the flank. And then in the wings here, she's got a C grade. So an overall B grade, she's like a C plus B minus in that range on defense. Overall, though, I did stretch it and put her to a B. Rush B, Buff B. Honestly, she's not really that great on weekly tournaments, but an overall grade here as a B. Next up, we got this monster of a Mammoth, Master Lepus. Deals 410 damage to the target and minor damage to nearby enemies. Caster gets minus 20% for 3 turns. This effect cannot be dispelled. 410 damage to target nearby enemies is definitely relevant. That is going to hit you like a truck, not to mention it's 795 attack. I've been smashed by Master Lepus a few times and it never feels good. So this being a limited hero, the one issue that I do have with being in the Druid class, you're going to see Master Lepus is competing against Vila on the tank or on the defensive side to things. So I don't know how I feel about that when you're comparing, which one between the two, because I think that they're both really high impacting heroes. Probably leave it up to you to make that decision. Um, but at fast speed, smashing for a ton of damage, the defensive part isn't that much of an issue. It has some pretty average defensive stats, but the attack power is super relevant. So the grade itself, right here at the top row, stamina is at a C, so pretty low there. Obviously passive, giving yourself minus defense, that's a D. But the direct damage is at an A range. Still, even though it hits target nearby enemies, it still deals so much that it's still warranting an A grade on the Titan. So that's pretty relevant. And the tiles are at an A grade. Definitely a solid hero if you're looking at the the tile damage type hero. Does warrant some looking at, especially if you're gonna add emblems and stuff like that to it too. A grade here at speed, and then the stamina is at a C grade. Obviously not the best grades, but that can be fixed with emblems. Passive, giving yourself minus defense is not great, but this has an A plus direct damage grade. So we've calculated that by math, so that's massively important. Probably, I think it is the highest hitting hero for the most amount of damage, especially running at fast speed. So A plus grade there. On war, A as well. Overall A. So this is fringe A plus, potentially because he just deals so much damage. Speed being at A grade, stamina being at a C grade, passive D grade, and then direct damage A plus. Obviously that just hits like a ton of bricks. I'm not really liking it in a flank or as a tank, but as a flank and a wing, Master Lepus will destroy you. So the only reason that this has a little bit of a slight decrease in grade to where it might be A plus, is because it's competing against some other really great heroes too, especially when we're considering the defensive side of things. So overall, an amazing hero, an A grade, very close to an A plus grade. On rush attack, A because it's already running at fast speed. Buff attack is at B, close to an A grade there. I remember I was close between a B or an A. And then Bloody Battle A plus, probably one of the best heroes to ever bring in the Bloody Battle when you're color stacked against it. Overall grade A, close to an A plus grade. I really love Master Lepus. If you're able to go ahead and get Master Lepus, you're going to have to decide if you're going to be giving the emblems to Vila or Master Lepus there. Next up, we have Sir Roostly. Sir Roostly deals 280 damage to the target. The attack chains through all enemies that are adjacent to hit any enemy. The caster gets minus 20% attack for 3 turns. The effect cannot be dispelled. So when Sir Roostly was first released, I was so shocked that they released this hero because it average speed and then it's chaining through all enemies. And then the downside isn't really that big of a deal. To get minus 20% attack for 3 turns is not really that big of a deal. So the only issue with Sir Roostly is that he only deals it to enemies that are adjacent. And when we're looking at what he does on the Titans and offense and defense, it does factor that kind of stuff into it. So I was really shocked when I got feedback on this. But 778 attack is pretty good, and defensive stats is really high. So overall stats wise, it's an overall awesome hero in that regard. Issue here is we're running at Paladin class, which is going to compete against Teleria right now. So that definitely is going to lower the stock on Sir Roostly, but other than that, probably awesome. I really like this hero on offense. So when we're looking at him, Sir Roostly, we're down here at the very bottom. Again, it's a Paladin. Stamina is at a B. It's got pretty average. I remember looking this up. It was really close to an A grade, so it was really fringe on there. Passive, obviously, it gives you minus effects there. Direct damage is still pretty high for a Titan, but does have awesome tile damage. It's up there. Versatility is a C. This could be used as your tile damage hero on a Titan stack, but I'm not really that sold on it. I would probably run like June instead, but does have some usage on Titans. On offense, though, running at B speed at average, does have the stamina graded at B, passive's at a D, direct damage is at a B, and then because the only reason why he got damage or stats down is because a lot of times with him running at average speed, the issue came to be that he would fire off when the tank was already dead. So because you're probably going to get it to where the tank fires off and then hits, you could probably schedule it out to where you have him go off and chain through and hit everybody. So this is close to, just so you guys know, this is close to an A grade for sure. I wanted it to be, but just getting the feedback from everybody, a lot of times the tank would die before he would go off, which would only chain 2 heroes, so you're only dealing damage to 2 heroes at the most. So it is a little bit of a shoot there, so that is kind of an issue. Now on defense, speed is at a B, stamina is at a B, the passive is at a D, as we know it gives negative effects. Direct damage is still at a B. In a tank grade, it has some tank ability, but being yellow, I would still just run like Guinevere. There's probably a bunch of other heroes I'd run as a yellow tank. I'm not really liking it as a flank raid or in the flank or in the wing either. So unfortunately, Sir Roostly doesn't have the best grades when it comes to overall in general. But this is like a C plus B range just because there is some opportunities to run him as a tank. On the rush tournament, though, I do see this as an A. That does take away that level of where everything is dead at that point. So you could probably go ahead and smash people really, really hard. Buff tournament, B, and then bloody. I do see a lot of advantage to running him in the bloody tournament, hoping that you could kind of schedule it out and possibly. So it's there. Overall grade though is a B. Next up, we have the last hero. I want to talk about this hero because Killhare is an extremely impressive hero. I'm going to go ahead and point out the fact that it does have fighter class. So now when you're looking at the huge advantage of running Teleria tanks running around, you have Killhare is now also competing. Obviously, you're looking at deals 300% damage to all enemies. This is competing against Ursna, or Senya as I pronounce it. But being at fighter class, Killhare definitely adds that element of disgustingness to it. You do have Ursenia running with sorceress emblems, which kind of delays stuff. It's not so much of a factor, but this is going to be really annoying. I expect a lot of battles to end with your whole team is dead and Killhare has 1% or has 1 HP. Because I do see that at average speed, Killhare will go ahead and get enough to fire up, and then a last stitch effort to go ahead and kill him, and then he fires off and kills your whole team. So this is such a new hero that we're not seeing it in the meta, but I'm going ahead and I'm calling it now. It is going to compete with Ursna, but you're still going to see this on defense for sure. Dealing 300% damage to all enemies. All allies except the caster get minus 20% for 3 turns. This effect cannot be dispelled. So what's really cool about Killhare is that Killhare actually pairs extremely well with Jean-Francois. So Jean-Francois actually turns your minus effect, your minus defense effect, into a positive effect. And I'll show you that here real quick, how this reads. So Jean-Francois, which is kind of awkward because Jean-Francois is a defensive hero that you're seeing more people are having on your defense. So it is definitely a viable strategy to have this pairing together. And what he does is it gives all allies get defensive status ailment protection for 4 turns. New status ailments affecting defense will be replaced with 42% defense for 4 turns. So what you could eventually do with Jean-Francois running at fast speed, you have Jean-Francois go off first, and then and then Killhare going off. You're actually making your minus defense turn into 42% plus defense. So some people know about this, but this definitely does factor into things. Jean-Francois also factors in when you're thinking of Master Lepus as well. So if you have Jean-Francois go off first, and then you fire off your own Master Lepus or any hero that minuses your defense, Jean-Francois flips it. So that's a really cool interaction that some people aren't aware of. Some people are aware of it, but that's really cool. Let's actually talk about, let's get into the grade for Killhare. So Killhare is all the way down here at the bottom. I already mentioned Fighter. Fighter is definitely very, very relevant. It's going to be reviving. It's going to come into play. Stamina grade, it does have an awesome stamina grade, so that is something to consider. It's really high up there. The passive grade is a D. Obviously, you're giving yourself defensive down. The tile and direct, even on Titan, it's still got a B grade on direct damage. And then the tiles is at a B. C grade. So I'm probably not gonna throw this on Titans, mostly because you're gonna smash all of your other heroes to get minus, and purple itself doesn't have a lot of shifting colors that can raise your defense up. So that's definitely a factor there. On offense, though, running at a B grade, stamina grade is an A. Obviously, passive, it's giving your whole defensive team. That's either a D grade or an A grade, depending on if you're running Jean-Francois. So just keep that in mind. Direct damage is an A plus because you're just annihilating the whole team. It doesn't matter. Minus, 300% damage to all your heroes is going to be disgusting. So plus you're going to figure, if you're pairing that with like Panther, I could easily see you just killing 3 heroes, and by that point you're just so far ahead. War grade an A, overall grade an A plus though. Awesome on offense, and especially pairing it with Jean-Francois. Speed at a B grade, stamina an A grade, passive D, direct damage A plus. As a tank, I could see it definitely as an A. Might have a little bit of a factor of like shooting out all your other heroes, but at a flank grade of an A plus, and then the wing grade is close to an A plus 2, because I could see that this hero is just going to make it so it just kills everybody after it revives. So close to an A plus range there on the wing grade. Overall A plus. On the rush tournament, A plus. Buff grade A, and then bloody tournament just disgusting at A plus. So it's just disgusting on rush as well as bloody. Really awesome hero. I love this hero. Overall grade here as an A plus. Last up, we got my good friend Malosi over here. He's been around for a few days here now, but dealing 300 damage to the target. The target cannot cast any new status effects or stacks on enemies or allies for 3 turns. Elemental Link gives all holy allies 10% critical chance for 6 turns. Effect cannot be dispelled. So running at Barbarian class, so this is competing against like Gravemaker. I think it's also Cage Burrito also is using Barbarian class too. So it does have a little bit of competition when it comes to defense. I do like the resist defense ailments, so that is actually really cool about Malosi to consider. Now, Malosi is super, 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 super important. The reason why Malosi is super important is because of the ability to go ahead and not cast any new status effects on enemies or allies. So that definitely comes into play for sure. Attack at 743, it's up there a little bit. Defense, it's a little bit above average, I would say. So let's go ahead and take a look at the actual grade itself for Malosi. So Malosi here is like 3rd in there. I don't know how that happened, but it just went that way. Stamina grade is at a B. Passive grade is a B. Direct damage is a B. Tiles are a B. So just so you know, a lot of that is just calculated by math on all of those actually, except for the passive. So the passive, when we're considering the passive grade, doesn't, like, I'm not really seeing this pairing well with Titans when you're using it to prevent you to just, I don't know, essentially have it so you're not bringing in a antidote. There is one Titan that goes ahead and gives the perfect reposit in the rare Titans, so possibly it might get some usage there, but I'm not dropping my my antidotes to run him. I'm not really feeling it. Some people are. I wouldn't do it. Overall B grade there. With Malosi running at very fast speed, it's got A+. Stamina grade is at a B. The passive is at an A. This is close to an A+. I might actually shift this to an A+, because I have been using Malosi on other things, and he helps me out so much on offense. But most importantly, when you're figuring if you have mana troops on him and going up against Teleria, you can go ahead and have Malosi fire off before Teleria goes off, and it doesn't create this huge effect. So Malosi definitely does shut down Teleria, but what I'm finding when I'm running mono yellow is a lot of times I'm just killing Teleria before he goes off. If I can get the 6 tiles, it's usually killing Teleria. But there is some factor there. I do love it. It's, completely negates out Vila as well as Gravemaker too. So that's also super important. Running it very fast, that you're kind of shifting there. The stamina grade, B, again, passive A, close to an A+, direct damage B, war grade, this is close to an A+, overall grade, this is close to an A+. I really love this hero on offense. Definitely a lot of uses. Also really pairs well with Jackal, but it's almost kind of awkward with Jackal because you fire off Jackal and then you cast off Malosi. You've almost, you're pretty much just going to kill the hero, so then it just becomes a sniper. So there is some awkwardness to that a little bit, but I still love it. On defense, speed A+, stamina grade is a B, passive on defense is a B. This is close to a CB grade because it's just firing at one random enemy, and you don't know how that's going to impact things. Direct damage is a B, so it doesn't deal a ton of damage. It does have some tankability a little bit. B, this is close to a CB grade. Flank is at a B grade, solid B flank, and then a solid B wing just because it's running it very fast and it does hit for a decent amount. Overall though, on defense a B. On the weekly rush tournament it is a B. Buff tournament an A, and then bloody battle an A. This is close to an A+ grade on the bloody battle. Overall grade for a B, this is close. This is probably what I would consider a B+ A- grade on a hero just because of the implications on offense and defense. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I did include some bloopers at the very end. And again, if you could do me a huge favor, subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate it. And I'll see you guys on the next video.
Healing, but current products aren't made.
Just kidding. This is...
Gamers. Now there's a better way to...
Just kidding. This sponsored is sponsored... Just kidding. This video is sponsored by my good friends at Raid Shadow Legends. Game Oils is not a real product, but Raid is. Step in and clown on noobs as you battle way to victory. Raid has tons of awesome features for you to claw your way through. I personally love the clan boss mode and working with my friends to take down some mammoth-sized monsters every single day. I personally, keep on saying I personally.